but we also want to be able to like watch it and manage it and help them get rid of that debt. Right. And so in that sense, just being able to touch the foundation. Have you protected your income? Have you started an emergency account? Do you have a short-term savings account? Do you have a long-term savings account? You know, or I don't know about like most recently in the past 2-3 years, but before then, yeah, it wasn't, it just disappeared. It's not like that here.
Right.
And so, you know, it is inherited. So your income, you know, we protect your income so that when you're no longer around, there is a little bit of your income that we protected to pay for things like that.
Hello, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Lalwani Lounge. I'm your host, Ajay Lalwani, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about something that we all should get better at: money. We're not going to hit you with any kind of math equations, we'll just leave that to the experts. Speaking of which, I've got someone super special today, Daniela Quintero. Daniela is a financial specialist. She's here to help us understand financial freedom and how we can live our best lives even when we retire. So stick around because she's going to drop some major knowledge. This is an episode that you do not want to miss. Enjoy. Hey Daniela,
Hi.
welcome back. It's been a while since
Yes.
since we had you on the podcast. So how does it feel? Like how has your last year been?
It's been amazing. Thank you so much for having me back on the podcast. You know, thank you. It's been super crazy. You know, the
Right,
past year just been a lot, and it's just been super busy. This year flew by, really. But it's been good. Thank you so much for having me back.
That's good. That's good. I remember last time we actually like kind of touched on these topics, but never really got into the finance and the financial freedom aspect of what we were actually supposed to talk about. We
Right.
technically were supposed to talk about it. We just started talking
We
about
went
your
off
personal
talking
life.
about, yeah, well, you know, I'm not a boring person. I'll tell you that much.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm not a boring person. So, you know, it's easy to track off, especially because there's just so many stories and so many experiences to,
Right.
you know, talk about. So,
Yeah, so I'm glad we got some time to bring you back so that we
Yes.
can actually talk about this. So one of the first things that I wanted to talk about is, especially for people that are just trying to understand what finances are, or like are very young in their growth journey or their careers, or people that have thought about it but don't really understand it. So can you, like, for everybody, just establish what financial freedom or financial
yeah.
independence means? Like, you hear this from a lot of people, like, hey, I want to be financial independent, or I want financial freedom.
Okay.
But what does that actually mean?
Okay, so let me ask you something, right?
Yes.
When I say the words financial independence, what bells go off in your head?
It's like when I don't have to worry about money.
Right. Okay, so when I say things like retirement, what bells go off in your head?
Wow, I don't
Immediately, yes, you do. What? Think about it right now. Say it. Say it out loud. Think out loud right now. Right. Retirement. What little
It's
things?
like don't have to worry about work, money,
Okay.
or like I want to travel, be with
Okay.
my significant other, and
Okay. So around the
just
same thing
enjoy
as the.
life, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So around the same thing that you said with just financial independence in general, right? Okay. When I say the words like saving money, what things like do you start thinking about immediately?
30%.
30%.
It's my dad taught
Okay.
me, like
30%.
30% of your
That's
paycheck goes into
beautiful.
savings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's beautiful because like the fact that you can immediately go there. Most people think about saving money and they start kind of like freaking out and like shifting in their seat and getting uncomfortable. So it's good that you immediately went to but key word is my dad taught me.
Right.
Right? And so when it comes to financial independence or any kind of financial literacy, really, nowadays, there's really only two ways of obtaining these things, right? The first way is through generational wealth, which is what our parents teach us. Things like 30%. Like, that's a great number that you have stuck in your head because really, it's like 20%, but really 30% is going to set you up for success. And then the only other way to really achieve and get this literature, to get this knowledge, is by going out of your way to learn it, right? So like, for example, and I'm talking about like my experience, of course, there is no There was no one or anywhere that was like, okay, Danny, let's teach you this now. Especially in school, school didn't set, there wasn't a class or there wasn't anyone that was like, okay, Danny, let's teach you about how money works or how the, government works or how the American economy works or, simple math on like how interest works, right? And so because there's no one teaching it out there in school where you're kind of in a way placed in a place to learn it, you have to find it out of your way. So you either go to college for finances, right? Or you hire what is a financial coach, a financial advisor, a finance specialist, to really guide you. So you can only really achieve it either through generational wealth or by like your own personal desire to learn and grow.
Okay.
Right. So the actual financial independence, right? So like just how your little light bulb started going off when I said financial independence was to not worry about money. And then retirement was to not worry about money and be able to travel and, all of that stuff. So ideally, they're all kind of all in one, right? They don't have to be, and they're not going to be for some people, because when it comes to finance, every person and is in their own situation. And most people don't realize this. Every single person, even if you're in a relationship, even if you're married, for the most part, you're still very much an individual. Therefore, you have to plan your finances individually. And so when people think, okay, financial independence, I can just not worry about money. Like, exactly. That is financial independence, not having to worry about money in a sense of like waiting for government help, right? Like living your lifestyle. Worrying about like,
Government finances.
right. So financial independence in the sense of like not having to worry about your money, not having to depend on either the government for your lifestyle, not having to depend on your family, the help that they provide for your lifestyle, and then not having to depend on a job for your lifestyle, right?
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, and you see all of the jokes and all of the memes and all that stuff talking about like a job and like my employer wants me working all the time and all these things. But without that job, you would have no income. At the end of the day, your income is your biggest wealth building tool, right? So we have to be able to understand how we can achieve financial independence with our income. In the sense of like, well, okay, so if I don't depend on a job, on a government, or help from my family, what is it that I depend on? And really, it's you, right? You have to depend on you. You have to take the proper steps to becoming financially independent if that is a goal that you want to achieve. It doesn't just happen. You have to set yourself up, right? So being financially independent looks different for everybody in general. But the main thing is being able to live your lifestyle without having to depend on your family, a job, or the government.
Okay. So basically, either do I have to have like savings that, so do I do the numbers? Hey, currently I spend maybe $5,000 or whatever per month on say groceries, rent, mortgage, etc. For my living, right? Hopefully by the time I retire, I won't have a mortgage.
Right.
So hopefully,
Ideally.
right? So let's take that off. But groceries, food, travel, and basic like taking my old lady out for dinners and
Whatever.
stuff. And I'm hoping by the time I retire, my kids are already in school, and they're independent in that
Yeah,
sense, right? So
for sure.
that's the condition we're talking about as retirement, right?
I wouldn't necessarily so much make it call it a condition, but more of a plan,
Okay.
right? And I wouldn't necessarily take mortgage out of there, because the point of finances, and I heard this the other day, I forget from where, but I was just scrolling on the gram, right? And I heard somebody that called finances, they called your money. Your money is like it's like a mistress, If you don't pay attention to her and you don't see her every day, she's going to leave you. Right. And so you want to be able to pay attention to your money, what it does and what you can do for it, how you can protect it, and in that sense. Right. So when it comes to retirement, right, everything comes down to a very particular plan for the individual that I'm speaking about. Right.
Okay.
So just like, and even before we get into like all of that, right, like a little bit about me. in the sense of what I do is I help people as a finance specialist. I help people really realize where they are now and really decide where it is that they want to go, right? Because a lot of people, and you'll notice that when you ask people about retirement, they're like, "Oh, that's going to happen when I'm 65 with Social Security. I'm not going to think about that right now because it's too far away from now." But they don't understand that that's something that you have to plan for, right? The sooner you plan for it, the more time you have. And so as a finance specialist, it's my job to focus on education before I really just tell you to do this and do that and do this and do that, right? Because everybody has a different level of knowledge.
Okay. So if we were to take an example, say for example, we take me as an example, okay? And just for ease of calculation, let's say my annual income is $100,000. So it's
Okay.
like an even number. It's easier to then start calculating on top of that, right?
Right.
So what are the questions that you're gonna ask me about where am I right now? So
For
if I
sure.
were to come up to you and say, hey, Daniela, can you help me understand where I am right now and help me build a better future
Yeah.
for me, my family, and everybody that comes after me.
Yes.
Right. So, what are some of the questions you're gonna ask me?
Yes, so that is my job, right? More than anything, I touch subjects like wealth management, wealth building, things like how to get rid of debt, the rule of 72, how interest works, and then put all of those things and build a plan, right? So one of the first things I'm going to ask you is, have you ever spoken to anyone in the finance field, a professional about your finances, right?
So let's start with no. Like let's think that I have no understanding of all of this,
Okay.
and you're the first person that I'm talking to.
Okay,
Right?
perfect.
So no prior experience in this.
Okay, perfect. First, I would tell you get a piece of paper and a pen and to write things down, right? Because the things that we write down, we can remember and we can retain. Because when it comes to finances, think about it like this. I don't know about your culture, right? But the Latin culture, sometimes we grow up thinking like, oh, don't talk to people about your money. Don't tell anybody, like, stay hush hush. Don't be asking questions. I'm getting this. I'm getting it's the same.
It's the same.
Yes, it is. And unfortunately, that is not the way you want to do it. That's why, no offense, these Americans, they have generational wealth because they teach their kids, like, okay, don't talk to just anybody about your money, but talk to somebody that you trust. So first and foremost, make sure that you always are sitting down with someone that is trustworthy, that has your best interest in mind, because you never know, and in the finance field, something that you might not know, you don't want to feel like you received all this amazing, accurate information, but because you don't know this person, you don't know if you can trust this person, and then now you're left with not knowing what to do, not taking any action either, right? So just starting off with that, you want to make sure that you're talking to somebody that is licensed, that knows what they're talking about, that has your best interest at heart, right? So one of the first things I'm going to really basically ask is just kind of get a feel for who you are as an individual, right? Your age, your marital status, if you have kids, your income, right? And then we go and we start digging deep down into the kind of level of education that you have, right? Even if you were to have a huge level of education, I always like to at least start with the foundation. And that's really the most important part when it comes to your finances. Like anything else, right? You need to have a solid foundation, a solid understanding. I get a lot of people that are like, "Oh, Danny, I want you to invest $300,000 for me, and I want you to double it in 6 months." And I'm like, okay, but what do you have as your foundation? Because even if I were to do that, one thing goes wrong, we did nothing because we didn't properly plan, we didn't properly protect, right? So foundation is everything, right? Things like income protection. Do you have income protection? Do you have a mortgage? Are you trying to buy a home, right? That's also something else that we work with is mortgage loans. I don't know if you've ever heard of Rocket Pro Mortgage.
Yes, I have.
Number one in their industry. We work with them, right? And the reason we do that is because a mortgage is instant debt, right? So we want to be able to help our clients get the dream home, right? But we also want to be able to watch it and manage it and help them get rid of that debt, right? And so in that sense, just being able to touch the foundation. Have you protected your income? Have you started an emergency account? Do you have a short-term savings account? Do you have a long-term savings account? Do you have any kind of investment experience? How comfortable are you with your investment experience? And then how open-minded are you to learn, right? And then we start getting into, more of like a wealth management. Do you have a will in place? Have you protected yourself from the laws that, love our government. I love it here. But but not all of the laws that the government has in place benefit us as individuals, right? For example, something that a lot of people don't realize is when you first pass away, the first thing that happens, and it happens this way depending on like the state that you're in, but one of the first things that happens is the government, the government imposes a death tax on you. I don't know.
There's a death tax?
There's a death tax, my friend.
So when you die, you're still paying tax.
See,
Are you serious? You're telling me there's a death tax? Like, yes. I cannot get rid of taxes even after dying?
Well, it's the last time that they're going to be able to tax you. So they're going to tax you. Yeah, depending on the state. But yes, it is a thing.
And I cannot even contest it because I'm dead.
Because you're dead. Yes.
I'm so happy that I'm a Hindu, so I'm going to come back.
And I'm going to hunt everybody. I'm going to hunt the whole entire American government.
I'm just kidding. All right, let's continue.
Well, see, you just gave the perfect example on why it is that I do what I do.
Right.
The light bulbs. The light bulb I just watched turn on in your head was the most satisfactory thing. Like, I don't know if I used that word right, but it felt really, really good. Like watching you be like, wait, what? Because it's not just something I'm saying. It's not like I'm like, oh, here's a trick. Voila. No, like this is just how it works. Right? Certain things that people don't know until it's too late. And unfortunately, ignorance is not an excuse in the eye of the law.
Right. It's not bliss at all.
No. No, it's not.
I like how you just did that.
No. Yeah. Oh. Sometimes I think, I'm like, man, I wish I was one of those girls that was just pretty and clueless and just went about life.
You are pretty.
Thank
You're just
you.
not clueless.
I'm just not clueless. And I like, there are those, and I love all women. All women are beautiful, right? There are all kinds of women, right? But like sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe I wish I was just that clueless person so I could just go about life not worrying about anything. Unfortunately, that's not me.
Right.
So that's what's another reason how I ended up here.
Yeah,
I want to know. I want to know everything.
I want to hear all of it. All right. So there's so much that you said that I want to go step by step.
Okay. Yes.
Understanding. Like I want to break down all of those statements.
Yes, and that's okay. I start going in, dude.
But okay, so the first thing was you said some people, maybe it's an American culture that they ask you to talk to at least somebody about finances, right? And you said it's very important to know if somebody is authentic or if they're trying to take advantage of you, because there are a lot of people that will try to scam you. Sure,
and there are.
Right?
There really
you come
are
from Latin culture, I come from Asian
I'm telling
culture.
you guys, watch out. Okay, be careful. People out here getting played.
All right,
okay?
So what would be your advice to people? Like, how do we understand, hey, if somebody's trying to take advantage of me or not, or if somebody actually has my best interest? But before you answer that question, right, I want to understand a lot of people that work in finance maybe are commission based, and like if they sell you a product, they get some money out of it, right? So there's vested interest in them looking out for their interests too. Right. So
well, at the end of the day, this is a job. This is a business. We are talking about business.
How do we understand that apart from them trying to make money, they're also looking in your best interest and making sure that you get to a good place in life?
I'm really glad that you actually asked that, because here is really where the difference comes in, right? Someone that is just trying to, I don't want to say take advantage of you, because sometimes they don't know what they're doing, in the sense that they've just kind of been taught to sell this thing and that's it. They're not looking out for your pocket, right? They give you some super expensive products in the sense of certain things that you need. They aren't licensed in the industry. And on top of that, like it just, your retirement plan stops making sense. And at the end of the day, whether you're used to talking about finance or you're not used to talking about finance, it's not hard. It's uncomfortable because we're used to our families telling us, don't talk to anybody about it. But it's not hard. Once you really get into talking to people about it and you get comfortable with talking to that one person about it, being able to plan and being able to figure it out, it's not hard at all, right? So the difference is really understanding what you have. If you're working with someone and they're telling you, you got this, and it goes like this way, and if you turn around 3 times and hop 4 times and tap your head, it's gonna do this, like, okay, sure, but it needs to make sense, because there's no reason why your financial plan and your financial future doesn't make sense to you. And so at the end of the day, your finance specialist is going to be more worried about retaining the money in your pocket and growing the money in your pocket and planning for the money in your pocket, rather than just setting you up with something and sorry. Setting you up with something and just being like, not, if you don't understand your retirement plan, that's a red flag. It's a huge red flag.
Okay, so one of what you're saying is like, if I'm able, is there a way to verify that they're actually licensed?
Yes, definitely.
How do we
broker check.
So there is something called as a broker
Yes.
check. You can verify their license.
Yes.
Which is
Yes.
okay. So that's
Definitely.
a good thing. So
Definitely.
you can verify license, and then you
It's
can.
very important in the sense of being able to trust the people that you're talking
Right.
to, because some people will be like, oh, I heard this and I heard that, but they're just talking. And it's okay to have conversations with people, because sometimes that's how you get, information, or that's how like the curiosity bug bites you. But to really make sure that you're talking with someone that is licensed in the field, and that their company is licensed in the field, and like is recognized for quality,
Okay. Okay. Is there a place where I can independently check if they are licensed? So say, for example, like
Yeah,
you come
broker
up to
check.
me, you show me like an ID, which could be photoshopped or whatever, right?
Right.
And laminated from UPS or whatever, right?
Right.
So you show it to me and it looks legit. But is there a way I can look at your, like maybe the a license number or whatever?
Yeah,
and verify,
100%.
Hey, okay.
100%.
Perfect.
Yeah,
So-
broker check. Broker
okay,
check
so
will do that.
You could do that. So that's good.
Yeah.
And the second thing you said was they set up a plan and make sure that they explain to you what
Yeah.
your retirement plan
Yeah.
actually means.
Yeah, to me personally, for your advisor to be like, oh, I'm going to set you up, don't worry about it, I got you, that's a red flag.
Okay.
Even if you are the one that goes to your advisor and you're like, set me up, I trust you blindly, set me up, and for them to be like, oh, okay, that's a red flag. Why? Because I can, if you as my friend come to me and you're like, Danny, I need you to set me up and blah 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 blah, I'm gonna do it anyway, right? But I'm going to, just out of professionalism, I'm going to at least sit you down one time and make sure that you understand what it is that I'm doing for you. I'm not just gonna be like, oh, okay, cool, like red flag, right?
Right.
That, and referrals. Don't Google financial advisor. Like, don't do that. Like, people pay for ads on Google. Like, that's literally their job, is to make money off of your money, right? A topic that we talk to about our clients often, how the banks system works. A lot of people think that the banks, it's their job to provide, it's their business to provide a checkings and a savings, but that's not true. It is only a service, but a bank's business is to make money off of your money, right? And so being able to work with referrals, ask the people around you, ask your friends, ask your family, like, who do you guys go to? Because you know that that person is going to have your best interest, because they also have like your friend's best interest. So for me personally, just talking to somebody that you've seen already kind of have a financial plan, and asking that person like about their professional, and stay away from banks, yo. Just gotta stay away from banks.
So for my financial advice is I go to Danny. Anyways, all right. So so now that we understand, like, okay, so now we establish credibility of this person
Yes.
that I'm talking to.
Huge.
Right? So let's say we established your credibility, right? Now what would be the next question you ask me in terms of my finances and how we
Yeah.
go about this. I remember you mentioned will or something
Mm-hmm.
in those lines.
Yeah.
Can you like expand on that?
Yeah, so one of the first questions I'm going to ask you, because if you allow me, I'm going to do my job, right? But I can't do anything without your action. So one of the first questions I'm going to ask you is, what is your sense of urgency in taking action of your finances
Let's say right now.
right now? Perfect. So then we would be able to sit down and look at everything, right? Everything that you have. Income protection. Do you have any
When you
investments?
say income protection, what do you mean by income protection?
Income protection. Income protection doubles as life insurance. But if you use it strategically, it protects your income. Why? Because your income is your biggest wealth building tool. You're going to hear me say it a million times, okay? It's your biggest wealth building tool. You got to protect it. Not only that, but like you right now, you don't have like, a kid or that I know of, or like a family or
I know.
anything that we know of. But even if you did, even you yourself, you depend on your income, right? And so let's say you start getting your family, you start your family, you're getting that started. Your family also depends on your income, right? If you were to pass away, God forbid, right? I mean, but it's going to happen at some point.
Right.
If you were to pass away, who's going to pay for those death expenses, right? For those expenses.
Apparently, I have a tax when I die.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to pay that.
Somebody's going to pay that. Something a lot of people don't know is that debt is inherited. I don't know about you,
Yeah.
but in my country, Colombia, debt's not inherited. Like you accumulate whatever debt, and when you pass away, it disappears.
Yeah, it doesn't happen in my country.
It doesn't happen in your
No,
country.
it gets inherited.
Okay, no, it or I don't know about like most recently in the past 2-3 years, but before then, yeah, it wasn't. It just disappeared. It's not like that here,
Right.
And so it is inherited. So your income, we protect your income so that when you're no longer around, there is a little bit of your income that we protected to pay for things like that. Your death tax, your debt, if you have any. Because if you don't have money to pay off that debt, guess who's inheriting it? Either your children, your wife, or your siblings, or your parents.
Right. So, so life insurance, you're saying, would be like a way to make sure that you're protecting.
Yeah, protecting your income with life insurance. But again, using it strategically. Life insurance is very tricky. And I always find it really funny because life insurance has kind of has a bad rep,
Right.
But that's the traditional life insurance. Your traditional life insurance agent, your traditional whole life insurance policy,
Yeah, because I've had people like at networking events, they will approach me, talk to me, and like, hey, let me manage your finances. And when they talk to me, they would talk to me about savings account. They would talk to me about, hey, do you have any investments? Hey, do you have any mortgage? They would go through well because my dad taught me a lot about these investments.
Beautiful.
So I do have a decent understanding. So I tell them like, hey, this is what I got, and then their next thing is like, hey, let me sell you some insurance.
Yeah.
And it would probably be a life insurance. Like, hey, do you have life insurance? If I say yes, they have nothing else to offer. Right? So I'm like,
yeah,
well,
that's
when you say you're going to manage my money, were you just trying to sell me insurance?
Yes. So
because turns out you're an insurance broker rather than a financial planner.
And that's how they get you. An insurance broker is the same thing as an insurance agent. They do not have the licenses to talk to you about investments or like anything like that, right? And so they are just trying to sell you life insurance. And that's why life insurance gets such a bad rep, because most, if not all, life insurance agents, not financial advisors or specialists, or not the finance people, the life insurance people are only out here trying to sell you life insurance, right? Usually it's whole life insurance, and that's your traditional life insurance, right? For you Generation Z's or whatever is what is it's what's popular on the TikTok nowadays. The infinite banking.
What is infinite?
It's
Am
literally.
I too old for this?
No, you're not actually. It's just the little popular, what are they called now? Social media trends. You know, they get paid to make commercials and ads, right? And they talk about infinite banking, but like, don't do it. Infinite banking.
What is infinite banking?
It's whole life insurance. It's all it is. It's whole life insurance in a traditional manner. And we can get into a little bit in depth of what that is, but whole life insurance pretty much just means that you're paying for insurance your whole entire life. Because you're paying for insurance your whole entire life, you become an instant liability to the company because they're going to cover you regardless, right? You're paying for it your whole entire life. Because you're an instant liability, your insurance usually comes at a really low coverage, usually at a really high cost, right? Your insurance agent is going to tell you, oh, I know it's expensive, but you have a cash value savings account, infinite banking on the side. And you're like, okay, so I see that it's expensive, but some of it's going to my policy and some of it's going to an investment, a savings account. But what you don't realize is, no, that's still life insurance. Like, the person that sold it to you is a life insurance agent. They don't handle finance. Therefore, they're trying to sell you a really expensive life insurance product that isn't going to benefit you. The cash value, the infinite banking, people sell it as a savings account, but it's not. It really is just there to take care of the cost of the insurance further on in the road because it gets more expensive.
Right.
There's reason for a policy like that, but 99% of the people don't benefit from it, and it's not how they advertise it, which kind of ties me back around to your financial plan needs to make sense. And if your financial plan isn't making sense, that's a red flag because you probably just only have insurance,
right?
And they're just trying to sell it to you as something else, right? So income protection, right? It's life insurance, but not in a traditional whole life manner, right? It's only for a certain amount of time, the time that we need to protect our income so that while we grow our income, it's protected. But after we have grown our income, we are now self-insured. We don't need to keep giving our money away to an insurance company. And so income protection works that way. It's life insurance, but in a strategic manner, not in a traditional throw your money away your whole life type of way.
Okay.
Yeah. All if right. That makes sense. If it makes sense.
It does. So that was step one.
Yes.
Income protection. Well,
yes, because
we already figured out so I'm just going based on the scenario, right?
Right, the scenario.
We already figured out my income. We already figured out my savings plan, whatever, maybe my goals, maybe my mortgages, my family.
Well, we haven't done that, right? Because all of that comes down to what is called the financial needs analysis.
Okay, so that's coming later.
It's
am I going too fast? Jeez, sorry, my bad.
You're skipping over things.
Okay, so,
which again, I see it all the time.
I'm trying to understand. So I'm still learning, right? So I'm learning based on whatever I'm learning right now, right? So we established your credibility. We established the income protection, right? Which is a strategic life insurance, but not the traditional one,
right?
But a better way to manage.
To protect your income.
All right.
Your income is your biggest wealth building tool, okay?
Perfect. Right.
You got to protect it. It's the foundation.
I'm counting. I'm actually going to put this in the edit. I'm gonna count how many times
I say. Yeah, do like 3, 4, 5.
Yes,
it's important. It's the foundation of everything because with your income, you live your life. With your income, you pay your bills. With your income, you save money, right? And that money is what grows. So you have to protect it, right? So my job is to build your financial home, right? In that sense, the foundation of the home, just like anything else, is your income protection. Once we establish what that need is, right? Because I'm not like, here's also another problem. Like, people come to me and they're like, Danny, insure me for $5 million. Like, listen, I would love.
I'm sorry.
I would love nothing more to insure you for $5 million. However, is that what you need? No, it probably isn't. Another red flag. If you go up to somebody and they're like, insure me for $5 million, and they're like, okay, red flag. Like, we have to find your need, right? Once we find your need, we can do everything else. I work off of a budget. Everything I do is off of a budget because you make 100K scenario wise.
Mm-hmm.
You make 100K, right? But my next client makes 500,000 a year. And so your budgets are going to be completely different.
Right.
If I tell you, hey, I have a financial plan built for you with a budget of $1,000 a month and you can't do that, you're going to look at me like I'm nuts.
Right.
Right? And so everything comes down to a budget. From your budget, we can build your whole entire financial plan. Now, of course, as life comes by and comes your way, we can mold your financial plan, change it, adjust it, right? But everything starts with a budget, right? From that budget, I work with what is your income protection, but that's not where it stops. Okay, it's not about the life insurance. Okay, the life insurance is a minimal step that you have to take because your income is your biggest wealth building tool. Okay. So that's only like the thing I always tell people that's how I know how serious you are about really planning and managing your finances the proper way. If you allow me to properly lead you through each step, right? So your budget. From your budget, we grab your budget and we dictate it in certain ways. We use a little bit for your income protection based off of your need, okay? And then the rest, what's remaining, we work with what is savings, emergency accounts, and investment accounts.
Okay.
At that point, you have your income protected, you have your savings, your retirement is being planned for, right? At that moment, we start helping you get rid of debt. You no longer owe anything to anybody. You've protected your income, you've planned for your savings and your retirement, and you don't owe anything to anybody. What do you do then?
Enjoy my retirement.
Boom.
Okay.
Exactly.
That makes me feel nice.
Yes. So now you can ask all the questions.
Okay. So, just for more understanding, you keep saying like, oh, this is my job. This is my job.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to expand on like what your job is, where you work, and all of that?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Just for me to understand where we're going with this. Yeah.
Yes. Basically, my name is Daniela Quintero Diamond. I am a regional leader, future RVP at PSF Investments. And we focus on financial independence and financial education, right? So I educate and then I provide a service. So that's my job. That's what I do is I help people plan for their future. So like all of my clients, they're going to be my clients for the rest of their lives. I'm going to be there when they first protect their income. I'm going to be there when they start their retirement account. I'm going to be there when the light bulb goes off on how interest works and how they can use it in their favor. I'm going to be there for that. I'm going to be there when they buy their own home, their first own home. I'm going to be there when they get rid of their debt. I'm going to be there when their kid goes off to college and they call me and they're like, yo, I need $10,000 for this brat. I'm going to be like, I got you. You know, I'm not going to say it like that, obviously. but I'm going to be there for all of that. And so in that sense, it's my job to help everyone I come across reach financial independence, whatever that might look like for them.
Lovely. So now, all right, we're going to continue this scenario.
Okay.
So now we've established all of this, the insurance part, we've got our money protected. Now, if I want to, like, say for example, now I have a savings account.
Yes.
Right? Say for example, I am saving some money, like it's not any of the like things that our parents teach us, right? That hey, your paycheck 30% goes here, 10% goes there, 15% goes there, whatever. I do not know that because maybe my parents did not know that or whatever. Mm-hmm. Let's just take that out of my memory. Mm-hmm. So now I have some savings that sometimes I see, hey, sale in Macy's, and I just buy stuff.
No.
Right? Or just to let people know, and this video is not sponsored by Macy's. but
if you wanna.
So like either I spend it there or I spend somewhere. If I'm not spending I'm keeping it. Maybe or maybe not. I have like a health insurance that helps me. Maybe a car insurance that may or may not be full coverage. Maybe my credit score is around the 600s. maybe
Okay.
not the best,
Okay.
right? What will be my next step in understanding where do I go from here?
Yeah, the first question I'm going to ask you is, okay, for like, you have savings. You just said you had a savings, right? That's fantastic. That goes ahead and lets me know that you have saving habits,
But I
right?
also have credit card debt.
Yes, naturally.
Okay.
But you have savings. Therefore, your management, questionable, but your habits, you have saving habits. We are our habits and our behaviors, right?
Okay.
So
You've been dropping lines.
I'm just saying. Dude, everything you asked, one of the questions you asked in like the little thing you had me fill out was like how do you stay authentic and all of this stuff. I just be living. I just live and I watch people, and I've been blessed with the gift of being able to learn by watching. And so I learn from people's success that way. But I also learn from people's failures that way.
Do you think that's a gift or it's a habit or something that you have made sure that it's part of your life where you're actually spending time learning rather than complaining? Ooh, that could go on a t-shirt.
Dude.
Anyways.
That's a great question. Unfortunately, I think it's just something I was conditioned to do.
Okay.
Like I don't necessarily have like the easiest upbringing. And so to me, the way I see it when it comes to being negative or being positive, like, or being positive or complaining, like, obstacles are going to come your way. It's gonna happen, right? And so it's really up to you on how you see it, right? And you can see it negatively, but then you're just going to be negative, right?
Right.
Or you can see it positively, because the opposite circumstance is just negative.
Right.
So it's really up to you. Either you can choose to be positive, because the other option is negative.
Right.
And it's really up to you what you choose. And so I was conditioned to be able to think and see the way I see things.
So you learned how to learn.
Yes, if you will.
Love it.
I learned, because
Love it.
I was around a lot of people that didn't necessarily make the best choices. So I watched and I saw the way things went down, and consequence, cause and effect. And so I watched and I was like, And then from there, I stemmed off to make my own choices and my own decisions. And in my search of just knowledge and self-growth and self-development, I learned we are our habits and behaviors.
Right. I have this quote that I just thought of.
Okay.
So this is how the quote goes, right? So a smart person learns from his own mistakes, but a wise person learns from other people's mistakes.
Yeah, and that's I definitely learned from both.
Right. So you're very wise.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right. So coming back to the savings part, and
so
the learning part.
Right. So first, like, at least you have good saving habits, right? Second, where are you saving this money and how much are you saving, right?
Let's just say 10% of my annual income in a random
Let's keep it
checkings
simple.
account.
Let's keep it simple, right? Month. Let's say you're saving like $150 a month, $200 a month.
Okay, let's do $200
right? Just
a
so we
month.
can keep it at a number and not percentage, because
So-
I don't
so
want to be
I wanna-
disrespectful, but not
The-
everybody understands percentages.
The idea was like, so the reason I said that is because I wanted to show that I'm not really consistent in my savings. It could be anything. Like
It could be anything.
Some months I'm saving $500,000. Some months I'm not saving at all.
But you see how I got you to tell me that?
Yeah.
That's what I needed you to
Yes,
tell me.
so, okay,
Okay,
so
so
this-
then I can get to know you
so
more.
let's just say, so I make $100,000. $10,000 a year is what I can save.
More or less.
Okay,
right? Perfect.
Because
right?
sometimes I want to spend on, like, say maybe Thanksgiving, there's Black Friday, I want to splurge there. Maybe Labor Day weekend or what. Nowadays there's sale every single weekend,
Every
right?
weekend. Yeah.
But I still manage, like, maybe there are months like February, March where there's not a lot going on, and I'm able to save some money.
For sure.
So it's inconsistent, because if I was consistent, then I would be better
off in the sense, right?
In a position, right?
For sure.
So let's just say I'm not.
Right. So, okay, perfect. So now we know
$10,000 a year. So
$10,000
close to like
a year.
$750 a month.
Okay, which
It's Asian.
the Asian
Sorry.
brain. It's the Asian brain. I love it. It's
Sorry.
quick with the numbers. No, but like realistically, like even if this was a real scenario, if you were saving $750 a month, that's a great number. It's a great number, right? And so, now that we've established that, you don't save a whole lot, right? But or very like stable, right? It's very up and down, but you still are saving some, right? Next two questions would be what is it that you're saving for, right? Because something that's not measured, it's not achieved. So what is it that you're saving for, and where are you saving this money, which is usually going to have the most effect on the goal.
Okay. So where am I saving money? Let's just say in a random checkings account. Okay. Or maybe the bank has a savings version of their account, which gives me 0.05% APR.
No, not 0.0.
Right. So let's say 0.
Something else we're going to talk about.
Maybe
Is the rule of 72.
One of my friends told me about this online account.
God.
With, say, for example, American Express, and they give me 4.5%.
Unlikely, but sure.
Right? So if that's the case, let's just say I park my money there.
Okay.
Right?
Let's pick a spot though, right? Because we're doing like a scenario.
Okay.
Right. So let's
just say an online bank account like like American Express or Goldman Sachs or like Credit Union, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Which gives me more than like my traditional bank account.
Okay.
Right. So over there, that's where I put my savings money, and I'm doing it just so that I don't see the money, right? So if I don't see it, I won't spend it.
Correct.
Okay. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
So it's parked there, and bringing that money back into my checking accounts cost me. So I'm not doing it.
Do it.
So I'm like,
see, that's smart. You are already showing good habits. Like it's like, if you were my client right now, what you would be telling me as a client just by talking, I can already tell you at least have spending habits. You have a desire to learn and to achieve financial independence. You just don't know exactly how and where to go. Right. So my next question would be, right, what would happen if, like, God forbid, an emergency happens. Your windows all break at the same time, or all 4 of your tires like pop, right? What happens to your savings?
Yeah, they're gone.
They're gone. Poof, just like that, right? And so what we have to really do is we have to diversify those savings so that there are planned, there are accounts and there's money for situations that are like that, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when emergencies happen, because life is life. Right? And so if you're properly set up, not just with a savings account, but if you're properly set up with an emergency fund, a short-term savings, and a long-term savings, you're properly setting yourself up for any of the things that we don't really see coming our way as people, but they're gonna anyway, right? And so you want to be able to get those savings that you have, right? First, you told me that they're in a bank, and I would eventually get to the point where I'd be like, listen, the bank is not your friend. Okay, the bank, any kind of relationship.
Daniela, are you my friend?
I'm your friend, AJ.
Okay. Thank you.
I got you.
And now I trust you more. Please tell me more.
I got you.
Okay.
If you're truly really saving, there has to be a reason why, right? Whether you want to buy another home, whether you want to buy another house, whether you just want to secure your future, right? There needs to be a reason why. But there needs to be something protecting that reason, because you can have all of the reasons in the world, but if an emergency happens and clears out your bank account, you're going to have to start from zero. Right? So what you want to do is you really want to diversify those savings accounts. You want to have what is your emergency fund. You want to have what is your long-term saving, or your short-term savings, your short-term savings, and you want to have what is your long-term savings. These 3 accounts are yours to have, right? The reason you don't want to have them in a bank, though, is because a bank is going to give you 0.005 is generous, if you will.
What? Really?
You can pull it up right now if you want on Google. Google interest rates that you get on in Bank of America, right? Or Chase. I'm not endorsing those banks, okay? If you have your bank in, if you bank with Bank of America, watch out. But anyway, yeah, you can just Google it, like average interest for Bank of America, or average interest for Chase, or average interest for any kind of main provider. Right there, top. Oh, not the highest, but the highest is even going to tell you what we're looking at. 5.3 APR. See, that's great. But what you're looking at right now is yields for savings. A lot of people don't have these small banks, right? Most people have what is Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo, the big brands, right? And so if you put your money in a savings accounts there, you're not going to get much of a savings in that sense, because you're receiving between 0.02 to 0.3% in interest. So while your money is being saved, it's not growing. And you know what is growing? Inflation and the cost of things. That's what's growing. So we have to be able to put your money in an account that is growing with high interest rates. Ideally, your emergency fund, right? It's an emergency fund. It's going to be accessible. Therefore, your interest is going to be low, but you want it to at least receive some type of interest, right? We would be getting into the rule of 72 a little bit, but you want to receive some type of interest, because 0 times 0 is always going to be 0. But, you know, some of us want 10 times 10 right away, but we can't have that. At the end of the day, I would rather have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 than 0 by 0, because 0 times 0 is always going to be 0, right? And so where your money is saved... where your income is your biggest wealth building tool.
Did you just say that to increase the...
Yes, I did. I did.
You do realize you have to say it a million times,
a million times now. Let me get three times out of the way. No, I'm kidding. But where your money is saved really makes a difference to how fast it's going to grow. Okay. So if you have it in a bank account, like, first, again, congratulations for having something. But now let's talk about what it is that you want your money for, so that we can put it and allocate it in the proper accounts to receive the proper interest, right? Because it's your job to make you money right now, right? To live your lifestyle right now, right? But it's my job to make sure that there's money left, right? Because it's not about the money that we make. It's about the money that we keep. I know people that make hundreds of thousands of dollars like a year. Like I see people every single day, daily interactions with $400,000, $500,000 earners, right? But I also know people that make $200,000-$300,000 that have nothing, right? Because yes, you're making all of this money, but you're also spending all of this money, which is not hard to do. Right. So it's your job to make sure that you make your money. It's my job to make sure that you keep some of it. Because even though we do have the desire to save and invest and plan for the retirement, and we do have some good saving habits, if we don't take action, we're going to end up like more than half of the people in the United States nowadays, where they reach 60, 55, and they're still working, because it's so easy to spend your full paycheck like that. Wow. It's so easy. But you have to pay yourself first, which is another topic that we share with people. Paying yourself first, right? We make all this money and we get so caught up in paying rent, paying bills, paying car, paying food here, paying food there, but we don't pay the person that did all the work. Right? Because that person that did all the work is going to get old. Listen, we have two main issues as human beings, right? That we make more for ourselves is another thing, you know? But we have two main issues. And we either pass away too soon because it's just life, or we live way longer than we ever thought we were going to. Therefore, we didn't plan for it, but we're here now. And so what are we going to do? Well, we don't have plans, so we have to work.
Interesting.
Yes.
So going back to the next question.
The next question.
That you might ask me to understand my current financial situation before you can actually help me.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So you asked me about
everything.
Like
everything.
Where I am currently.
I ask you about everything.
So you asked me where I'm currently. What kind of information would you need, or would I need to even figure out for myself that do I even understand what my goals need to be, or do I even understand what retirement actually means for me? Is there something that you asked for me to understand? Like, yo, I never really thought that. Hey, because I thought I'm gonna be 25 for the rest of my life, but then I'm not going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then when that reality hits me, how is there a way you can ask me questions which will give me a reality check? Like, someday I'm gonna be old.
Yeah, all of the questions. I'm gonna ask you all of the questions, like I did earlier today, or earlier, this scenario.
Is there any other questions you would ask me based apart from what we currently already talked about?
I mean, there's just so many things that I ask people, right? Because at the end of the day, I can talk all I want,
right?
But if what I'm saying doesn't either matter to you or isn't clicking, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Right.
So now that we saved money in my in my random ass in my random account.
Okay.
And now there are maybe I have some weird spending habits, or maybe I have some debt. Say, let's say I don't have a house.
Okay.
Right? Let's say just not really got out of school, but got out of school, started my first job, did it for like a couple of years. So I have some consistent income coming, right? I've been with the company long enough to be okay with that company, making money, right? Layoffs and everything aside, I'm making money. So let's just say the income is consistent.
Okay.
Let's say I'm not getting a promotion or whatever, but my income is consistent.
Yep.
Right? So I'm constantly
safety.
Yeah. So just for like ease of understanding where we're going with this, right? And then I start like maybe I'm like living a minimalistic lifestyle because maybe I cannot even afford it.
Naturally.
Right? I tried it for a couple of weeks. I saw my friends spending money at like various restaurants and stuff. I started doing it too, but then I realized I cannot afford it. And then I, started pulling back because, maybe I don't want these friends anymore because now I'm feeling bad about myself. Like, hey, I cannot afford what they're affording and how they spend money. I don't know if they have their financial plans in place. I don't know what they do. I don't know how much money they make because money is a lot of times hush-hush, right? And I see this persona, so I feel they're making tons of money. So I also feel bad, like maybe I'm not making enough money.
Yeah.
Maybe, so I'm getting insecure with my own six-figure salary.
Yeah.
Technically, it's a six-figure salary, which is more than most people around this world, right?
More than at least 75%.
So I'm like in the top 25% at this point, right?
Yeah.
See how my Asian mind did the math?
Did the math work?
So I'm in the top 25%, which people don't realize, right? Like, 100,000. If I'm not top 1%, then maybe I'm not worth too much, is what the mentality is.
Right.
So you just told me I'm in the top 25%, which is a huge deal.
Right.
Right?
And most people don't understand that.
Right. So now at this point, I'm like very insecure about how much money I'm making. How would is there a way you can
fix that?
No, not really fix that, but make me understand my current status. Like currently, all I want to understand is like my current status, like why
and how. Yeah. So, I always tell people most people that are living, and not all, because there are people that have generational wealth and they're wealthy and they don't even care, like they don't even need to because they are so established, right? But when it comes to our peers and like the lifestyle they're living and everything like in this industry, okay, so I see so many things. I see so many situations and so many different scenarios, right? When I bartended, back when I bartended, right? You kind of become like your clients not like not psychologists, but like the person that they vent to, right? And you think like, oh, like this person has all this stuff going on or whatever. But in the industry I'm in now, you sit down with that same person and their finances would never say what they are actually living through. And that's the wildest thing. Some people are so caught up in not looking for help that they're just digging themselves in a bigger hole, right? Living out of their income. Debt is a real thing. Credit cards, people love, and it's a bad habit that we have based off of like the satisfaction chemical reaction that we get in our brains. But people love showing off. They love showing off the expensive things that, like, for example, in this scenario you wouldn't be able to pay for. But then you sit down with them and you ask them, hey, do you have an emergency fund? And they're like, no. So they could be living this incredible lifestyle, but the moment anything goes wrong, everything comes down in shambles. And so in reality, it's because they didn't have this lifestyle. They were just living it that way, right? Compared to someone like yourself that is actually reaching for knowledge and a solid foundation. Because if your friends are wealthy, if they have that genuine generational wealthy mindset, they're gonna, and I'm talking about your friends that you're hanging out with, right? And they're paying for boats and sections at the club and stuff. If they see you either doing the same or like at least being around them, they don't mind. Wealthy people don't mind talking about their money. They don't mind sharing because wealth it's a team sport, you know? And so your wealthy friends, they're going to share the information with you. And so when you're out here watching all your friends spend all this money, but they're not talking to you about money moves or business or the future or savings or investments, they're probably on the same boat, if not a worse one that's sinking, because your friends, they'll ask you. If they're your real friends, they'll ask you like, oh, like I saw that you could afford this. How do you do it? Because I'm trying to do that. Or I saw that you were able to go to this vacation. How did you do that? Because I want to be able to do that. And they don't mind sharing. But when you just have friends that are living this lavish lifestyle and they don't talk to you about money moves and business moves, they're probably living over their means. And if you want an easy way to stop feeling bad about yourself, ask them questions that I ask you and wait for their answer.
Wow.
People are going to give themselves away whether they want to or not. You can only pretend so long, but they give themselves away with little things. You just have to learn how to listen for those things. So ask your friends the same questions that I ask you and wait for the response. It's naturally going to give either a positive one or you're naturally going to be like, wait a minute. Do I want to be friends with this person?
Wow, that's a lot of good information.
It sucks because my industry has almost ruined me from mindlessly being friends with people. They say that when I was younger and somebody would tell me like, tell me who your friends are and I tell you who you are. I used to get offended at that because I am very much my own. I am mine. I act how I act because of me. I'm not an easily influenced person. However, you have to study about how the brain works. There is such thing as a subconscious. And although you don't want to say, oh, my friends aren't me, they do influence your subconscious and they do influence you to an extent. And so this industry, I love it because I ask certain questions to people and based off of their answer, I'm like, is that the kind of friends that I want? Are my friends that I want, do I want them to be in that kind of mindset? Because where's that going to lead us? That's how I think. So I've definitely shifted a lot with the people I surround myself with.
That's
for sure.
lovely. Well, on that note, do you want to land this plane?
Yes. Because I'm over here sweating.
All right. It was lovely talking to you, and
Yes.
we would definitely love to have
Always.
you back. It's a great pleasure.
A pleasure.
And God bless.
Till next
That's
time.
it.